Welcome to whoever's watching this video. I invited Will to have a chat about the warrior archetype, and I thought let's record it, see what happens. Maybe we'll use it for something. I don't know if you want to start just by kind of introducing yourself for anyone who kind of doesn't know you and what you do.
So yeah, I'm Will, or everybody seems to call me Will Power because that's been it was my original PT kind of name 15 years ago when I became a PT. I was sat in the office and my mate I was trying to find a PT name and my mate just looked at me and went, "You're Will Power." And I went, "Yes, I am." So I created this Willpower personal trainer, and then it became my persona and who I am, I guess. And funnily enough, I guess in the early days of training, all PTing is around helping people find their own willpower to, get stuff done in the gym and with the eating. And now it seems to transfer into the work that I'm doing now, which isn't just PT. I'm now basically like a holistic coach, really, facilitator. So it is facilitating things like breath work, cold water, men's work, ecstatic dance, walks, working with people on like a one-to-one level, whether that's through still the PT side of things or just a bit of coaching, mentoring. I have the mentoring with the Band of Brothers, which we're obviously part of, which is an organisation that helps young men 18 to 25 get some support and mentoring from older men, really, which is what I feel is needed. So there's the mentoring that happens in there. Do bits of coaching online or one-to-one with people that are struggling with any issues, really, addiction, mental health, wrestling with issues in their behavior, impulses, all those kind of things. I kind of work on. I've done many different types of different things that have kind of had me create this more intuitive kind of coaching kind of model that seems to work. But on the mental health side, even with some of the groups that I run for some of the charities and that, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a trained therapist. I'm more there to hear and acknowledge people in what they're in, and then also just open doorways or guide them very gently in a certain direction. So feels great to be able to do that because the reason I'm involved in all this work that I do now is because of issues around partying, drugs, getting into, you know, bad behavior patterns, relationships, all that kind of madness had me end up in difficulties with mental health, needing therapy, medication, all that, having to come out of that, and then a couple of times of having that in my 20s, and then when I was became 30, it's led on to now I'm 39. It's been a whole year after I got better from my last really bad blip with depression. I just decided I've got to go deep here. And I've been on a 10-year journey of going deep, really. And that's what's got me towards who I am now, which is great. So I think that maybe.
I knew a bit about your work and your story, but yeah, I really appreciated hearing that. And so we're the same age, and it sounds like we had a similar turning point around the age of 30, and yeah,
Mm,
our experiences with depression as well, which maybe we'll have time to go into a little bit.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll cover what we can cover in this call. Maybe this will be the first of many calls. Let's see, but we'll focus on this one for now. Let's talk about the warrior. So what is the warrior archetype, the warrior energy? I don't know if you want to speak into that first, and we can go from there.
The warrior is somebody that has directs his energy towards a mission and a purpose. He needs to have a mission and a purpose. Uh, and when he has a mission and a purpose, he can direct his energy cleanly towards that thing. And he's in good, healthy relationship with his anger, so he's able to set boundaries, effectively speak up when he needs to, speak out when it is needed and necessary. Has energy and fire, like the element that it is. The fire, when he's in his healthy, place. His fire comes from the belly, and through that energy, like I say, he directs it where it needs to go, mainly towards mission and purpose and stuff. He's the protector. Um, he has a real care and love. I mean, we're talking now. I'm talking a bit more as a healthy, what we're all aiming for, kind of type. But he will stand and protect and stand for what is right or for his family. Um, so yeah, that's what I would say the predominant energy is around the warrior. You know, the right relationship with anger is a big one as well.
Yeah, when I was young, I don't feel I really expressed much anger. I kind of went the other way. I went sort of down, sort of, yeah,
Mm,
suppressed it, and it kind of manifested as depression. I feel like on the rugby field, I was able to sort of channel that, and and I was kind of super chill, like off the rugby pitch. But then I kind of did engage with that warrior kind of beast mode on the pitch, and yeah, I think I got some award one year for like being the most, I can't remember, ferocious player on that. I don't know what it was, but yeah, but I kind of enjoyed that. But then it's like, okay, well, I don't really know how to channel it outside of that. Um, and yeah, I think sport is good, and I think there's yeah, sort of I've done a little bit of boxing, not very much, but yeah, releasing anger in that way is good, like through our body. Um,
mm,
because yeah, it does need an outlet, and it's that kind of fire energy which is life force, isn't it? It's kind of that dragon. It's yeah, it's fire, and it's
mm.
just to have it online, have it, and it's a boundary. I think when you've got it's like people know not to cross that boundary.
Yeah,
They just sense it. It's like you don't have to express it. They can feel, oh, okay,
yeah,
there's a strong
mm,
back, and I'm sure we can think of men who and women as well who kind of have that. It's definitely something that I'm still
yeah,
unraveling. But yeah, like I say, it's been more, yeah, depression, which is that kind of internalized anger.
mm,
It's kind of been my experience of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing, mate. Yeah, so mine's kind of similar again. There's some similarities, mate. Um, to you, I used my anger, channeled that into sport, which was fine. I think that's one part of it. I think again, if you're a youngster and you do martial arts, you get that, but I think you also get teaching around anger with martial arts if it's done well by the right instructor. It's all about channeling, controlling emotions, and I guess you're not using it out there. It's all for yourself, and yeah. So I didn't experience that when I was younger. I've just been aware of that. But what happened with me is I had all this energy and I had frustration just through growing up as a lad and the hang-ups and the insecurities that I guess you start having, and then you party and then you start doing, well, I did start doing drugs, and you just go into these crazy behaviors that come up with being an adolescent. You can't escape doing that. It's just that this is where I think the learning needs to come in a bit younger now to try and bring that in so you don't have to end up in some of the situations like we had with internalizing anger or letting anger come out in a crazy way. But I had a situation, so I'd get use my anger in certain ways. I was kind of up and down with it, and then I had a situation where my mate really fucking took the piss one time. I just launched him around the garden. I just lost it, you know. I just remember, we were only like, I don't know, six, maybe 17, 18. And I think he was shocked. I was, and the people, all the mates that are there. And he was like quite panicked. And something happened to me then. And this is what I've unpacked again in these last year or two. So I made that part of me wrong because it hurt somebody. and it hurt a friend. He kind of, well, looking back on it, he deserved it for what he was doing. I won't get into details. He actually deserved to be, well, he deserved clean anger, but you're a young lad. It's like, so I was kind of justified in my action at that age, and I didn't, beat him up and put him in hospital or whatever, but I acted a certain way anyway, and I felt a certain shame. I made it wrong, I made it bad. So what then began, that started, I believe, the internalizing process. So when things came up, I think I would have shunned away from it. Don't get me involved. I got involved in fights and stuff. I was normally on drugs or something or drink. So it wasn't when I was in like a normal headspace. They would come out in flimsy ways, but predominantly I would avoid conflict. And that's good in some ways because you don't want to be getting involved in fights. That's not the answer to anything. But you need to be able to confront things that need confronting, have conversations that need to be had. You need to stand strong and stuff. You need to have your protect of yourself and others. And I think over time, a young lad, I just started to let go of that, internalized it. So then that went through to addiction. So then I take more drugs, harder drugs, so I could, yeah. And then I ended up with mental health issues and depression. And it was Gabor Mate that made me realize that it was internalized anger that caused my um, anxiety and depression. I was like, fuck. But again, only a couple of years ago, I learned that. So that has haunted me on and off. So I wouldn't have clear boundaries. I wouldn't be too confrontational. I was a bit more love and light a lot of the time. But then I would flip every now and again because there's only so long you can contain that. It wouldn't come out in the right way. And and that's been the battle. So I've had to get back and connected to that situation and heal that and speak to that part of me and let him know that he was just protecting me. It's okay. It wasn't wrong. Um, it's not bad. And start to bring that part of me into balance. And as I've been doing that, the fire in me is stronger for the care for myself. I've got more boundaries and more able to say what needs to be said and not shy away. My default still goes to not saying what needs to be said sometimes. Don't get me wrong, you have to be you have to be picky about what you say, but it still wants to go to that place. But I go, no, I'm standing in this place now, so it needs to be said. Um, so yeah, I that's been my journey with anger, and I feel like um, I think there's a lot of the times. I mean, I doubt there's many men that just mature into a healthy anger. I think it's either that you suppress it and you do what you become a bit more of a people pleaser and you just kind of don't confront things. You go into maybe addictions, whatever, or anger got you somewhere when you were younger. It gave you a sense of power and you kind of got off on it and it seemed it worked. So then you just use aggression then to get what you want. And yeah, I haven't walked that path, so I don't know what that looks like. But I've seen people walk that. And that's chaotic externally. It's like you destroy the world around you. So that ends up coming back to haunt you. Just like not dealing with it comes back to haunt you mentally because you're internalizing it. Um, so yeah, I feel like it's very important, I feel, and some of the work that I'm probably going to open up a bit more again next year, again, maybe will be towards trying to help the younger generation of men start dealing with that at a younger age so they can get into right relationship. Because I think if we do get this warrior energy in right relationship as men, we can really create positive change in our communities.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that the shame, there's so much shame attached to anger in the warrior, and I feel like out of all the male archetypes, it's the one that kind of gets a bad rap, isn't it? Because I think
Yeah,
the shadow, the toxic, the
yeah.
inflated warrior is what we see, and that's what like no, that's bad. Like yeah, men fighting,
Mm, mm.
men like using that energy in the wrong way, and then it kind of just yeah, it gives the warrior a bad name, doesn't it? And I think yeah, we've all sort of been shamed at some point in our life, either for being angry, for being violent, And if that happens at a young age, and I've got my son's going to be 9 in February, and it's interesting kind of seeing his relationship with his warrior and anger. And I really want to support him to express it healthily. So yeah, maybe that's some work that we could do. How boys of that age, what
Yeah.
what does it look like, and
Mm.
it's I think supporting the younger generations is really key,
Yeah.
definitely. So yeah, I'd love to chat with you more about
Yeah.
that, about all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel I didn't really have any warrior men in my life. Yeah, certainly that first 10 years of my life. I played rugby, I played mini rugby, and I guess I would have, they were like our rugby coaches would maybe have embodied some of that energy. But yeah, my dad he worked away a lot, so and when he was home, wasn't so present. I wouldn't say the warrior energy is particularly strong in my dad. Um, but he was kind of into his sport. He definitely expressed anger, but not kind of in sort of a healthy way. So yeah, I think there was just like a real lack of like positive warrior role models growing up. And I think, being sort of quite sensitive, I maybe fell more into that kind of lover, creative energy, which has sort of been my vibe for most of my life, I suppose. But yeah, kind of, my mum was my main adult role model, and I feel like I did sort of yeah pick up a lot of her ways of being. But I was always like big for my age. I was like, and I think I was good at rugby partly because I was like double the size of everyone else up until about the age of like I don't know 14. Like I was big, and I think part of me, yeah, I think maybe there was some not necessarily shame around that, but I don't know, like maybe a fear around sort of being full power because of
Yeah.
my size. Yeah, I'm the oldest sibling. So yeah, I think sort of being bigger and stronger than my brother and getting in trouble for like hitting him or whatever, I don't know. So I think at some point maybe I just felt like I had to sort of suppress that.
Mm.
And I think anger as well. I just didn't really express anger. I think I'd see my dad express anger and I was just like, oh, it just seems like a bit of a stupid emotion. And so yeah, I just didn't really express any anger. But then interestingly, did suffer with a lot of depression later in life, which I do see as being related to that sort of,
Totally. Yeah.
it's that kind of internalized anger.
Yeah.
So I definitely see a connection there. What was the warrior like for you, that initial period of your life?
I would say I predominantly learned warrior from my mum, not my dad. My dad was more the lover, creativity side. I'd say my mum was more warrior, king. It was the wrong way round, really, if that makes sense. I didn't learn them roles, I guess, in their right place. I learned from the opposite sex. My mum is get up and go. She's like an absolute, she's always been a machine. She's Danish as well. So I think I've got some kind of Viking lineage there.
Mm.
And I think she's pulled that line through. She's very get up and go, very good at sport. She's strong. She's got fire in her. She's not very confrontational though. I didn't learn that side of challenging stuff that needed to be challenged. But at a younger age, I would say that get up and go and learning to, channel that into my sport, who I was as a person and my personality was mainly coming from that side. My dad was amazing in his own way. It just wasn't very much down that warrior route. He did bits of sport and stuff like that, which great and encouraged me. Um, but yeah, I own it. I also saw uh, that anger. It wasn't there a lot of the time, but when it was there with my dad, it was. fiery, off kilter, uh, too much really. And it was, I didn't, yeah, it wasn't it. I never saw healthy anger. Really, not that I can now normally sort of unhealthy anger from. And I guess when I was looking for, we always look to our parents for the guidance to naturally guide us. I guess it was all a bit confusing, but I must have picked up bits from my mum, so channeled that through. Um, and yeah, throughout, I was always very good. Football was my main thing actually in school. So I got into football. I was good at it. I wasn't the tallest, but I was always quite strong and powerful. I was like this tank that would just charge about. So I went in football, was very good at cross country, went all the way down those kind of routes throughout school. Then as I got into like more puberty side of things, all my testosterone came online and enjoyed kind of just, I guess, getting into scraps a bit in on the football pitch. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, it was nothing too serious, but it was like, oh yeah, there was just something about I kind of like enjoyed it a bit. Didn't I wasn't one to kind of take it in that direction, but I would be quite happy to get involved in it. So I think that was just part of that bit of me needing to express my anger in a healthy way, but having no idea what that looked like. So that just looked like, all right, there's a scrap going on. Wow, this is adrenaline kicking. Wow, let's get involved with this. So yeah, it was out of whack, man. But it was also in place in sometimes with sport. But I was always, I mean, at that age, you have unlimited energy. So you can be too much warrior or using that energy way too, and you can kind of get away with it. It changes a bit when you get older, as we'll probably get into it. But yeah, not a very I wasn't shown the right way to use direct that energy, or it wasn't the role model wasn't in its right place. But I learned what I needed to along the way, really.
Where can we, where can we actually channel that warrior in
Yeah,
today's society? Because it's like we it's not like tribal times where we can engage with that when we're sort of having to defend our village or whatever, and or go hunting. And so I think that is part of the issue for men now, isn't it? It's like, well, how do we, what do I do with this energy? Where can I put it healthily? How can I be
yeah.
of service to my community with that energy?
Yeah, I feel like what you said, it's we do channel that energy into sport. And I think for men, obviously they're you're in football, you're all male. If you're in rugby, it's all a male team. So you kind of get guided into that way and you get to utilize that energy, and it does need to go somewhere as a young male. But it is also like what I've got to know more now is personally is that was great. That was good as a younger lad. Um, I feel now as I've committed more to martial arts as I've been getting older that what would have worked for me, and I probably would say for most younger men, some form of martial arts at a younger age could really begin to help you channel your energy and aggression in a controlled manner. And I've only again in this last year realized that could be a very good thing for some youngsters. So I don't know if that's just a thing for a certain type of male, but I'd say across the board, we're all dealing with, some pretty complex things around anger and boundaries and confrontation. And sometimes that world at a younger age uh, can control that needs, maybe quite possibly needs controlling. So that's something that I've discovered that could be a really important thing for a lot of younger males to kind of get into, whatever
Mm.
that might be, but in that direction. I'm seeing actually a lot more men doing that with the kids, jujitsu or, bit of boxing, even taekwondo, just something karate, all these things are like quite a lot of it is Eastern that has come from that part, which we need to draw upon.
The kind of samurai ninja warrior,
Yeah,
just that kind of you don't mess you don't mess with the samurai, but
yeah,
they have this like the honor. They got this really strong
yeah.
code, but
Exactly. That's it.
they know how to like use their body. They're lethal, but they're kind of very composed and like
And humble. Yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly it. The whole samurai thing, I'm fascinated by that. It's very like stoic, and
Mm,
it's like they're like trained killers, but they
mm,
do not, it's life or death that they'll use it. But what I think gives them the ability is they know they're a trained killer, so that gives them confidence in the fact that they don't need to use it unless it's life or death. But they'll hold a presence that I don't think you can hold unless you know you can handle yourself to that degree. That's what I'm starting to discover on this path of martial arts as well. I'm like, oh shit, it's just that people learn to become, I mean, I'm saying killer, but let's not say that. Just somebody who can really protect, basically. And it's like, people use that in the wrong way, but if you hold that energy in properly, that becomes as grounded presence. And that's quite a very masculine trait to have.
mm.
So I think that, yeah, the samurais and their values are so important around loyalty and honor and all that stuff is the key things that we kind of got to keep building into uh, our communities now, really. And I think a Band of Brothers plays a part in that with what they do. And that's what I'm aiming to do, some of the stuff I've been doing as well. I think it's very important.
I've been reading Jeff Thompson's book. Do you know Jeff
Oh,
Thompson?
no, I don't know
Yeah.
if I do.
Oh yeah, I should get on this. I'm going to
Oh,
plug Jeff Thompson.
yeah, I do feel
Yeah,
like I probably have. I've seen, I
great
don't
man.
recognize the name, but I'm sure I've seen that book. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. Just the way he writes it is very kind of warrior. Like he's kind of
Yeah.
um yeah, very highly regarded in the martial arts world, but he's like prolific writer and he's just done all sorts. But yeah, I've only recently kind of um discovered him and I think it was yeah, big ups to Danny Grundy, another A Bob brother down in Coventry. I think it was Danny who planted the Jeff Thompson seed with me. So yeah, I recommend having a look.
Yeah, I'd have a little, yeah, I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good conversation. I'd be open to having more of these conversations, in the future. And there's just so much that we could talk about on the subject of the warrior. We could sort of continue going through our lives, but I'm feeling,
Hmm.
yeah, maybe for this kind of chapter of our conversation, we kind of talk a little bit about, yeah, what's kind of lacking in society at the moment, or what's the role of the warrior in the world that we live in today from your kind of perspective, and then maybe you could sort of talk about the work that you're doing or feeling to offer in the future.
I think the Warrior, and again, it kind of, I've had a journey of being too little and too much. And I just think the world just jumps between these things. So it's like, if I just keep it, I guess, with men, it's like that warrior energy too much at the moment in the world is a lot driven around money, success, status, all that kind of stuff. Being, almost non-emotional, just hyper masculine. You're heading down really the Andrew Tate route when you're doing that, which is highly seductive for a lot of men, but very damaging as well at the same time. There's some gold in going and reaching for those things, and they're important for us to make money into to be successful and raise our bar of status. It's the world that we live in, but it's not the all. It's not the everything. And a lot of men strive for that, but like when you sent the Hollow Knight thing, they basically become the Hollow Knight because then they're an emptiness and a void because the lack of intimacy, the lack of connection to nature themselves, their heart is lacking. So then you just carry on this thing thinking that's going to lead you to nirvana and you never get there and it carries on and it carries on and you end up burning out, depressed. It can be a absolute train wreck. Or you could just, some people are okay living that life, but it's damaging though for people around you in the community because a lot of the time if you're in that, you're not going to be giving to your community, you're not going to give as much time to your family. Everything's going to be driven by more. And it's a real difficult place to be. So I've been in that in parts of my life and I had to pull it back. Last year I went very much into that as well. So I had to be very aware of how I direct this energy because I've got a lot of this energy, but it's directed in the right way. So I think we're lacking in the right role models to guide us towards using this energy effectively. So the opposite of that that's happening in the world is that men have no vision, no direction, no sense of anything, probably struggling with their depression. Again, this is something that we have both been through and just feel powerless, that they can't move anywhere, and then that gets into a vicious cycle, and you feel stuck, and then you feel not worthy, and it's just the opposite end of the pole. So you kind of stuck with no purpose and vision, and you're just surviving really. I think what and the challenges are that social media push this thing here, but what that does is that striving that ends up being too much and overwhelming for a lot of men, so they end up back here if they go down that route. Which is what I've done, jump from there and then ended up kind of here, jump to there, but ended up here. Um, and then also the other side of it is that life's getting too comfortable, kind of easy, sedentary. So we can stay comfortable as well. Because I'm not just going to say this other thing that I've put here is that it's all bad and it's all doom and gloom, it's all depression and stuff. Because it's not. It's just that you're just comfortable as well. You just got comfortable, work's going okay, but you're not pushing your comfort zones. You're just in this kind of um you're just in a place where you're not striving fully for something, it's just more comfort. Have you seen, is it John Carter, the film?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And he talks early on in it. I mean, it's like a kid's film, I think. But he talks about a man draws a circle around his family, and then a man draws a circle around his community. And he talks about he basically talks about how greater a man is as he extends his duty outside of himself, his family, his community, and then the world. And I feel like the call now is, and especially in these times now, is that we've got to get out of just doing stuff for ourselves, number one. We can't just do it for ourselves. We have to do it for us, number one, direct that energy there and pursue that. Because without that, we'd be fucked anyway. But you start there when that's kind of okay. You've done enough work. You're feeling quite solid. You also giving that to your family at the same time. But I do believe, really, if most men can give something to their community for nothing, whether that's helping younger men like the Band Brothers, which I think is absolutely imperative in the future, what we would like to direct it towards. It's more heartfelt and more directed towards what I believe is best for the world at large, is that most men can do something for other younger men in the community, because it's like that has been in us since the beginning of time. That was built into us. Once you got old enough and you would learn enough lessons, you'd almost become an uncle of the village, pass on to younger generation, and that's how it worked. That has been lost. So that initiation has been lost, and I feel like if we were to direct this energy, and I think the problem is that we direct this energy and this warrior energy in these different areas, which is fine. They have to go towards these things for us to strive forward in our own lives and for our family. But also, if it's important to direct that energy into community, and I think that's what's lacking, and that actually would give a lot of men purpose.
Yeah, felt like a real kind of like call to arms, because I think it is this, yeah, the communities need that warrior. And I think it's sort of redefining what warrior means. Because I think you think warrior, or most people think warrior, they think, big, muscly, kind of fighty, whatever.
Yeah,
But I think
Yeah.
you've kind of touched on it there. Warrior is about like the action. Warrior is about protection, and it's like and it applies to men and women, and it's like we need more of that in our communities, like you say. So, and I think you worded it sort of bang on there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just to finish on that as
yeah.
well, I think it's directing that energy into purposefully.
Mm,
Yeah. And purpose, and to me right now, where if we look at where our world is at right now with the difficulties that men are struggling with, that's been happening for a long time with the suicide rate, prison rates, with homelessness, all that lot. There is a call for action that has been here consistently for about 20 plus years around all these things. So to direct that energy, some men, and if any men are watching it, to direct that into some simple things like getting some of your mates out on a walk, starting up a little share, so getting involved with Band of Brothers, or you're already directing that energy into something I believe that is purposeful, that is gonna make a positive impact on your community, and that will ripple out.
and I think so. Yeah, men of our generation, we're the same age, and I think there's something in that. It's almost like a sort of coming of age. I think we're kind of entering our 40s, and it feels like okay, we've done a bit of self work and you know working on family relationship, whatever, and that continues to the end. But it's like okay, well, how can we, like you say, kind of apply that to the next circle out? What does community mean? And I think what we're seeing in this country right now is like, okay, yeah, there is a purpose for us, if depending what we want the future to look like. And we're not going to get into that conversation right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll save that for another time. But yeah, I just want to say thank you, King Willpower. If people want to find out more about you and what you do, what's your preferred platform?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to you, mate, as well. It's been a good chat. Thanks for having me on and doing this. It's been good to just sit down, get rid of all the outside noise, and just go in on this. So on Instagram, I'm willpower underscore coach underscore. I think there's me stood on a mountain on the pictures. So uh, a lot of people will contact me through their bits through Facebook. That's the main kind of route to kind of get a hold of me. And I'm going to be doing some men's walks that have started up again, and some other stuff I'm going to be connecting to, which feels really good. It feels time to make a step back out with some of that work. So hopefully, if anyone's seen this and they want to get involved, just reach out. We've got a men's walk happening each week, each month now. And then obviously we're part of ABOB if you're really serious about mentoring. Obviously you do the work on yourself, but there's a stepping into giving of whatever time you can to the community, then that'll be a massive help, and hopefully that will grow as well. It'd be good to get some more Band of Brothers spreading out over the Northwest, really, if we can do that. The more that we get involved, the better, and the more we give to the community. So yeah.
Mm, yeah, thank you, brother. Shall we check out with three words? I want three
Yeah.
words to wrap this conversation up. Uh,
Okay. 3 words. Purpose, direction, community.
mm, thank you. I am going to check out with inspiration, with fire, and hope. I'm going to throw a hope in there.
We love a bit of hope,
Um, but yeah, thanks so much, brother.
bro.
Until next time,
Yeah.
journey well.
Journey well. Namaste, brother.